What if everything you were taught about the dawn of human civilization is wrong? For generations, historians agreed on a neat, logical timeline of our past. It went like this. First, humans discovered agriculture. Because we could finally grow our own food, we stopped wandering and settled into permanent villages. Those villages grew into cities, and only then, with the security of a stable society, did we find the time to invent organized religion and build massive stone temples. It makes perfect sense. The only problem is, it isn't true. Deep in the rolling hills of southeastern Turkey, a discovery was made that completely shattered this historical timeline. Long before the first pyramid was raised in Egypt, long before the first stones were dragged to Stonehenge, and even before the invention of the wheel, the writing press, or the humble pottery wheel, an ancient people built something impossible. We are going back 12,000 years. The world is just waking up from the grip of the last ice age. Humanity consists entirely of small, nomadic bands of hunter-gatherers, following the migrations of wild animals. Yet in this primitive world, a massive monument was born. Welcome to Göbekli Tepe. Its name translates from Turkish to Potbelly Hill, a deceptively humble title for a place that has forced us to rewrite human history. For decades, the mound was dismissed by local farmers and early surveyors as nothing more than an old Byzantine cemetery or a natural limestone formation. That changed in 1994 when German archaeologist Klaus Schmidt visited the site. He noticed strange, perfectly rectangular stones poking through the dusty soil. These weren't natural formations, and they certainly weren't medieval graves. They were the tops of colossal, ancient pillars. As Schmidt and his team began to dig, the true, mind-boggling scale of the site emerged. They uncovered a series of massive, overlapping circular enclosures. Anchoring these circles were towering T-shaped limestone pillars, some standing up to 18 feet tall and weighing more than 20 tons. To put that into perspective, moving and raising just one of these pillars would require the coordinated labor of hundreds of people. But remember the era. These builders had no many tools to chisel the rock. They had no horses or oxen to pull the weight. They had no wheels to roll the stones. They had only stone tools, raw muscle, and a shared driving obsession. The pillars themselves are not just structural supports, they are masterpieces of prehistoric art. The ancient builders didn't just scratch crude stick figures into the rock. Instead, they carved highly detailed three-dimensional sculptures directly out of the limestone. Walk through the site and you are surrounded by a menagerie of aggressive, wild creatures. The stones come alive with leaping foxes, wild boars with bared tusks, venomous scorpions, crawling spiders, and winding snakes. Flocks of waterfowl and looming vultures look down from the tops of the pillars. Crucially, none of these are domesticated animals. There are no sheep, no goats, and no cattle. These are the untamed dangers of a wild world. Some pillars even feature stylized human arms and hands carved along the sides, suggesting that these massive T-shapes might actually represent faceless, towering gods or ancestral giants. Scholars believe these carvings aren't just decorations. They are the earliest known form of storytelling. Entire mythologies and belief systems etched into stone thousands of years before the invention of writing. The real mystery of Göbekli Tepe, however, isn't how it was built, but why it was built. Archaeologists searched the site extensively for signs of daily life. They looked for hearths, internal walls, domestic trash heaps, and nearby water sources, the typical footprints of an ancient village. They found absolutely nothing. There is no evidence that anyone ever lived here. Furthermore, the animal bones found at the site belong entirely to wild game. The people who built this monument were strictly hunter-gatherers. They didn't live here. They gathered here. This realization completely flipped our understanding of history on its head. It proved that organized religion did not emerge after the dawn of agriculture and cities. It was the exact opposite. The urge to worship, the psychological need to gather for sacred rituals and connect with the divine, came first. Think about the sheer logistics. How do you feed hundreds of nomadic workers staying in one place for months to carve a mountain? You can't rely on wild hunting forever. The current theory suggests that the massive workforce required to build Göbekli Tepe actually forced our ancestors to find a more reliable food source, triggering the cultivation of wild wheat and the birth of farming. The temple didn't follow the city. The temple created the city. As if its creation wasn't mysterious enough, the end of Göbekli Tepe is equally baffling. After being used as a sacred sanctuary for over a millennium, the site wasn't abandoned to slowly crumble into dust. Instead, around 10,000 years ago, the people who used it did something extraordinary. They deliberately, systematically, and painstakingly buried the entire complex. They brought in thousands of tons of loose soil, stone, and debris, intentionally filling in the circles until the monument was completely hidden beneath a man-made hill. Why did they bury their greatest achievement? Did their religion change? Were they hiding it from a catastrophic climate shift or invading groups? Or did they intend it to be a time capsule, preserved perfectly for a future world to find? Today, decades after its discovery, less than 10% of Göbekli Tepe has been excavated. Ground-penetrating radar shows that dozens more of these stone circles still sleep beneath the Turkish soil, waiting to be uncovered. Göbekli Tepe stands as a profound testament to the power of the ancient human mind. It shatters the myth that our distant ancestors were simple, primitive brutes, proving instead that they were capable of monumental engineering, complex societal organization, and deep spiritual thought. It leaves us with a haunting question. If we were so completely wrong about the very origins of human civilization, what other secrets is the Earth still hiding? If Göbekli Tepe teaches us anything, it's that history isn't set in stone, even when it's carved into it. Every discovery has the power to change everything we think we know about who we are and where we came from. What do you think? Did the collective psychological need for religion truly spark the birth of human civilization? Or are we still missing a massive piece of the puzzle? Drop your theories in the comments below. If you want to keep exploring the deep, forgotten corners of our world's past, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, keep questioning the story you've been told.